Hello everyone, Andy here, and I know a lot of people have been having trouble with their striker builds. We're going to look at an Esoteric Flurry Striker. So real quick, here are 4 different builds: 270 skill points with low combat stats, 270 skill points with higher combat stats, 300 skill points, and then eventually 340 skill points. Rewind if you have to. So let's just imagine that we're a fresh 50, we just got into tier 1, or perhaps maybe even we just got into tier 2. So we've only got maybe some blue accessories, a couple of purple accessories, I don't know. 1000 combat stats, okay? 500 spec, 250 swiftness, 250 crit. And as far as engraving goes, all we managed to get was Esoteric Flurry 1 and Adrenaline level 1. Maybe you only managed to get Esoteric Flurry 1, I don't know. But make sure you at least get Esoteric level 1, okay? So how do we actually play this build? So I'm going to show you the 268 skill point variation first, which would probably be most of you right now if you're watching this video. And something I want to talk about first is this skill right here. So I know it's in Korean, but just look at the pictures. This skill right here, I'm using this tripod. Why? Because we don't have enough combat stats. When we do get more combat stats, we swap over to this flame tripod. What does this tripod actually do? Well, there's a 75% chance to basically not consume one of these orbs, and that's essential when we don't have much gauge generation at the start, when we got low combat stats. If you try the other tripod, there might be some periods where you may have some downtime. But anyway, let's get into the rotation, okay? So we open up with the movement skill, Sky Shadow Blow, Lightning Whisper, Flash Click, into Tornado, into Blast Formation. Sky Shadow Blow is back. Shoryuken, movement skill, auto attack cancel. When you got everything cooldown, just auto attack cancel. And keep generating gauge. Lightning Whisper, Lightning Target Strike, Tornado. And yeah, it just flows at that point. At some point, it just keeps flowing, okay? Now, how do you auto attack cancel? Well, you hold down your movement key, whatever it is, for me it's left click, and then you tap C. So that's how you auto attack cancel, like this. Also to note is that you have 3 gauge generators, or perhaps even 5 ways of generating gauge. It's your W skill, which is also a counter skill. One of the better counter skills in the game, a very fast animation and a low cooldown. So this one generates a lot of gauge. Your Lightning Whisper, which also gives you the 18% crit chance buff. So you need to pair that when you combo. And also your Flash Kick generates a lot of gauge. And finally, Storm Dragon does generate a fair amount of gauge there. It does generate good gauge, but generally you want to save this for 2 things. Number 1, you want to save this as an extra movement skill. Let's say you got to dodge an AoE. You want to just tap it once with that movement like that. And also, typically what I do is I put the Chaos Gate rune, the Rage rune, onto Storm Dragon so that when we open up with this combo, we might get the buff. Now it's a small chance, but you may get it. Just a nice little attack speed buff. It just helps you with the combo. The last way to generate gauge is by auto attack cancelling. Now, of course, when you start getting better accessories, it starts to feel a lot better. So as you get more and more swiftness, let's say you have like a full set of yellow accessories, you might have this stat distribution, and it feels a lot smoother. And when you have more skill points and more stats, you want to get rid of this tripod, get this flame tripod, and max this out. And this will be at about 300 skill points, okay? Or 296 skill points. And it really starts to flow at that point. So open up like this. You should start to feel very smooth at this point. Auto attack cancels. One thing to note is always couple your Awakening with Lightning Whisper and Sky Shashing Blow for that extra attack speed. So like this. And because you get that 18% crit chance buff from your Lightning Whisper and the attack speed buff. So keep in mind which skills have Stagger and which skills have Weak Point or Distraction. So your Lightning Tiger Strike has 2 points of Weak Point or 2 points of Distraction. Level 4 Stagger. Your Lightning Whisper has 1 point of Weak Point or Distraction. Your other high Stagger skills would be a Wind Guard and the Shoryuken skill and Blast Formation and Moon Flash Kick. So those are all your stagger skills right there. And remember that your counter skill is on your Sky Shatter Blow. Very good counter skill. Now as far as Chaos Dungeon builds go, I would just recommend changing the tripods for Wind Guard and Blast Formation, as well as maybe Lightning Whisper. So Wind Guard, you get this nice chunky AoE Tornado. This will clear a lot of packs. For Blast Formation, you get this nice big triangle AoE. So good for AoE clearing, as well as we have the lucky Esoteric Orb tripod, so it helps us with gauge generation. Finally, we have this AoE tripod for Lightning Whisper. So basically, it does 80% more damage to challenge mobs or below. The yellow monsters, correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, those 3 skills. Everything else you could just leave the same. Now, as far as runes go, again, like I was talking before, I use the Chaos Gate rune on my Storm Dragon skill, the movement skill, because when we go into a combo, we might trigger the buff. It didn't work that time, but we get that nice attack speed, movement speed buff. I've got Gale Wind runes on the Esoteric skills, and I have Wealth runes on Moon Flash Kick, Lightning Whisper, and Sky Shattering Blow. The runes are pretty flexible, but the key things are that you really need are Gale Wind, Rage, and Wealth. Those 3 runes are essential, especially Wealth. You'll need Wealth to actually gain gauge. The build is playable with 1 rune only, 1 Wealth rune, and I will make sure you have that on Lightning Whisper. But make sure you're farming for these Wealth runes. It is essential for Striker in general. Striker is very reliant on spec and gauge generation. Gems, so basically as far as gems goes, you just basically want to get damage gems on your highest damaging skills. So in this case it would be, I would have 5 damage gems, or maybe just damage gems on the Esoteric skills, and cooldown gems to go along with them, and then cooldown gems for Lightning Whisper, Sky Shattering Blow, and probably Moonflash Kick. And that would be your 11 gems. And also, as far as engravings go, these are the engravings that I have on my character. So I don't like playing with Master of Ambush, so I opted for this build instead. So I went Grudge, Cursed Doll, then Adrenaline, then Sharp Blunt at the end, and of course Esoteric level 1. This is another engraving combination you could try, Grudge, Cursed Doll, and Master of Ambush. Generally, I try and shy away from using Master of Ambush early on because it can be quite difficult to land them. If you don't land a back attack, you may as well not have had this engraving in the first place. So consider when you use Master of Ambush, consider if you can actually land your skills with that build. If you're confident landing the skills, then go ahead and get Master of Ambush. So that's just another option. I would get Master of Ambush after Grudge and Cursed Doll. Grudge and Cursed Doll are always good combat because they basically guarantee a damage increase regardless of whether you hit a back attack or a head attack, and it's not reliant on critical strike chance like Keen Blunt weapon is, and other things like that. Now this would be perfectly fine for Argos Phase 1 in my opinion, and don't shy away from Grudge. Honestly, 1370 onwards you should start looking into using Grudge. It is a big damage bonus, and all honestly it is playable. By this time I'm hoping that you are better players, and it's better to get used to how Grudge feels. Keep in mind supports are also getting stronger when you play with supports, and they provide shields and healing. The burden of Grudge isn't that bad, I assure you. As far as early card sets go, HP sets, so this is Farewell Weapon, damage reduction sets from We'll Meet Again. So if you want to counteract Cursed Doll, what you can do is use We'll Meet Again, and the Tortoise set, this set here, this set increases your healing from battle items by 15%. So if you want to use Cursed Doll and counteract the healing reduction before you have Lost Wind Cliff set, you could consider this as well. As far as cards go, this is quite a long Endgame set. You can also go the crit set, the Lost Wind Cliff set, which gives you crit chance. This would do well as well. And more of you are probably closer to this set than you are Lights of Salvation. But I just want to show you how it plays. So this is my fully geared out striker with cooldown gems and 1000 swiftness, 500 spec, 500 crit. I'll show you. Plays very nicely. And the auto tech cancels feel really crispy. So yeah, there it is. That's Esoteric Striker. So at the end of the day, people always ask, Esoteric Flurry or Deathblow? And look, Deathblow is meta for a reason in the Korean server, and I must stress that that is at very high levels of endgame. But before 1445, I strongly believe that Esoteric Flurry is the build to play. It's just far more easier to play, far more consistent and reliable at low combat stats and minimal engravings and no cooldown gems. The reason why Deathblow is so strong later on is that a combination of cooldown gems, tripods, relic sets, high combat stats, relic sets from support classes, which give a 10% attack speed, movement speed buff, is essential for making Deathblow feel much more fluid and smooth at high levels. That's why I strongly recommend in Tier 1, Tier 2, early Tier 3 that you use Esoteric Flurry. It's just far more easier, you're going to land more combos, and it's far more practical and reliable. And that's important to consider when you're trying out builds in the training room. How practical is this damage actually? Is the boss going to move in the time that I do my combo? Can I actually reliably maneuver to land my combo? Always be thinking about that. Practical damage versus theoretical, okay? Thank you for listening, guys. Thanks for watching.